Hi everyone, my name's Pieta Valentine. I've written 2 books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit. Today's session is on preparing for a doctor's meeting. Now, there's actually a lot to effectively prepare for a doctor's meeting. They generally are about every 3 months. The power of attorney certainly in the family will be invited, asked along, and hopefully the rest of the family will go too, especially those that are interested in mum's care. So say, I'll just give you an example, say a typical example more or less in New Zealand in the South Island would be that your mother is 85 years old and she's been on a farm all her life, so she's fit, she's strong, she's sporty, and you're the son. You're a stockbroker and you have 2 sisters. One of your sisters is the power of attorney. And your mother, she's been fit all her life and still is actually. She's got dementia, but very few other, there's no other big medical problems, though she is developing a bit of a stiff shoulder. So you're a bit concerned about that, and that's why you've decided to come along, to the doctor's meeting, which is going to happen in about 6 weeks. But you thought you better get prepared. Now, the best way to get prepared for a doctor's meeting is to get the clinical notes, get a full copy of the clinical notes, the day-to-day notes from the carers, the doctor's notes, the charge nurse's notes, everybody's notes, the previous notes in terms of her admission notes, which is often like 20, 30 pages, and the day-to-day clinical notes could be a pile. Mind you, if she's just arrived and, she's only been there a couple of weeks, then the day-to-day notes will be less, but the admission notes will be a full stack. So get a set of that. Now, the thing is, those notes are a precious facility, and they are generally only given to the power of attorney, not other siblings. So hopefully your sister won't mind giving you a set. Sometimes there is resistance to that, surprisingly, but hopefully that goes through well. If you've got a good working relationship with the team at the unit and they can see that you're a supportive son and, that you're on board, they may allow you to have a set. But whatever way, just get a set and give yourself a good 4 to 6 weeks before the meeting, if you can, to study up, because it's a big mission, studying these notes. The first thing you need to do is all the medical jargon and medical dialogue and terms become familiar with, because they will be used in the meeting, chances are. So things like transfers are transfers for the person to be able to transfer from their bed to standing independently. Can they transfer from sitting to standing and standing to sitting independently? Can they transfer independently to get onto the toilet and off the toilet? They're the main transfers. So in a dementia facility, the first level, D3 it's called in New Zealand, the first level dementia facility, you need to be independent in transfers to be able to stay there. If not, then you'll be transferred to another facility, either the hospital nearby, which is often in the same village premises, or a higher level D6 dementia facility, often where restraints are in place, which is, it's really very difficult environment to stay there. So at all costs, you really want to keep your mother at this D3 level for, it's quality of life reasons. Okay, so you've got all the notes. ADL is one thing you need to get upskilled with. And also just, there'll be notes on showering, sleeping, eating, drinking. That'll be self-apparent. You can go through that. There's not many diagnoses with your mother, mainly Alzheimer's, dementia. Read up a bit on that. Google, of course, is, got so many resources on diagnoses. Google has got for diagnoses, the definitions, for definitions of conditions. Diagnosis is good. For medication and side effects, good to a certain extent, but that's when you really need the doctor's experience and the nurse's experience in terms of side effects with medication, because there's so much involved, you know, in terms of those side effects affecting your mother. I mean, there's just such a range of symptoms in terms of side effects, how they affect your mother in terms of age, constitution, other medications, other diagnoses, you know, and the medication itself reacts differently with different people. So that sort of thing is very difficult to learn online, and you really need to have the information from the doctors and nurses who are experienced in that area. But at least read a little about it, so that medications, so that when they talk to you about it, at least you're informed. Okay, so you've done all that, you've read the notes, you're upskilled, you've taken an interest. I mean, it's quite a lot to absorb, you know, to be able to. But if your mother's got less diagnoses, it's easier to upskill on. If she's got lots of, you know, if she's got heart failure, if she's had a stroke, a CVA, cerebrovascular accident, it's swollen ankles, so she's on medication with that because the circulation's not, you know, good. If there's a lot of that going on, that takes a lot more study, because different medications have different side effects, and so sometimes they're on other medications to settle those side effects, and yeah, it can become complicated. Still though, make an effort and, you know, learn all about that. It's helpful. Okay, so you're upskilled on all this, and you've got some ideas as you are a stockbroker, and you're thinking that you've actually worked as a vet before, you know, with cattle, and any cattle that were getting arthritic or, you know, frozen type shoulders, you were giving them steroids, and they often came right with that. And you're thinking, well, what about a steroid injection for mum's shoulder? Because, you know, it's really painful for her in the mornings to get dressed. I mean, your sister has got some nice, good, loose, stretchy clothing for her now, some tops, so she can put those on more easily. But it is becoming difficult for her to be able to sort of move, and it's painful in the day, you know. It can only lift to about 20 degrees, and she's not sleeping very well with it. So you can, you know, maybe ask that you're just thinking that if steroid injections work well for cattle, maybe it'll work well for mum. So you've got this plan to be able to talk about that with the doctor. Okay, so also another good thing too is to upskill your mother on the doctor's meeting coming up, who the doctor is, what his name is, what he looks like. Just even if she can't remember, just to get some recognition, okay, this big meeting's coming up and I need to be a bit, you know, aware of it. And that, say to her, you know, that you'd like to talk to the doctor about the fact that she may get benefit from an injection in her shoulder to be able to get the movement back. And I'm sure, oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, I'd really like some movement back, and it is so painful. So all of these things, you can inform her, but it takes quite a long time to sort of discuss all these things with someone with dementia, because, you know, it's a slower process. So start that, you know, a week or two before with her, just to get things, the wheels moving, so to speak. Then just a couple of days before visit, and inform her so she's got some more likely recent memory, even if only in part, to be able to draw on for when the day comes with the doctor's meeting. And you've got your notes, you're all sorted as to what questions you want to ask, you're well informed, and, you know, it's coming up very soon. So the next video I'm going to do on the actual doctor's meeting itself. But this is preparation for the doctor's meeting. It will vary with each of you out there according to your mother, father, different diagnoses, different medication. But whatever aspects you need to study up on, please do, because it's empowering. Knowledge is empowering, and also the doctor will appreciate that you're informed. Informed questions give informed answers, and in that way your mother's care will be a lot more honed and specific. And I'm sure you'll be a lot happier with her care as well. So that's the end of the session today. Thank you for your listening, viewing, likes, subscriptions. That's exciting, seeing a few subscriptions coming in. and the next video I'll do on the doctor's meeting itself.